Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, I think this hearing is going to be known as the Great Finger Pointing, hearing. And we've got Flint Mayor throwing people under the bus. We've got the Flint Emergency Manager throwing people under the bus, and we've got Ms. Hedman, former EPA administrator for that area, throwing people under the bus. But somewhere it seems like people were asleep at the tap, not doing their job. Now, if the locals failed, and the mayor failed, and the emergency managers failed, and there were failures there, Mr. Edwards, what role would the federal government have?
They're the last resort. They're the last line of defense. They're the last hope of Flint residents.
And the reason we put EPA together was to protect people, right, in cities and communities and states where they did not act to protect the water of the people, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Were they notified? Well, there's some heroes in this. First, the hero is, and she's here today, is Ms. Walters and her family, because they notified the local people and the federal people and everybody they could that they were poisoning their kids. Mr. Del Toro wrote an incredible memo. He acted. He's an Ms. Hedman, wasn't he an EPA official?
He's an EPA scientist.
Yeah, he did a great job.
Yes, he did.
A high schooler could read his memo, which he produced. There's a copy of his memo, June 24th. It tells you the violations of the city. It tells you the incompetence. Then it tells you the poisoning of their children. It's documented. And all the steps and the violations of Flint are listed here. Not just this, but they have a history. They're listed on the back. A high schooler could read this and evaluate it. Now, you got that memo, right, Ms. Hedman?
I'm not sure when I got that memo.
Well, but you
I
got
did.
it, right? Okay, June. And Mayor, you were aware of this, and you two talked, didn't you? Did you talk to her about this memo?
Yes.
Mayor, you did talk to her. But, sir, I went back and checked to see if you talked to your constituent, the woman and family whose kids were being poisoned. We knew this early in 2015. We knew it. They knew it at the end of 2014. We had the test here that proved. And he went in and he tested the pipes. He did everything. The first they said it was the pipes were lead into the house. They weren't lead. They were plastic. They were PVC. There was no lead in there. So you told her at the library on March 31st you were aware of it. You went to Ms. Walters and told you were aware of the situation. You take care of it, right? You do anything. Didn't you tell that to your constituent?
Yes.
She showed up April 2nd, 2015 at your office, and they said you were gone for Easter, but they would be back with her on Monday, right? That's what they told her, I'm telling you, and that's what she told me. Today is what? 2016, March 15th. You haven't been back with her since. But you were aware of this memo. You read this memo. They tried to suppress this memo. This wasn't a pretty memo because it said your constituents were being poisoned. So this is an incredible failure, I believe, at all levels, particularly the federal level. That's our responsibility. When we get a memo like this from someone with the EPA doing their job, and a constituent who reports it, and we have the evidence of the poisoning. This Mr. Del Toro is a hero, and the things he did, every test possible. He conducted every test possible. Is that right? You read it, Mr. Edwards? Did you read this?
His memo's proven to be 100% accurate in every way, shape, and form.
And yet ignored at the local level, ignored at the emergency management level, and then the oversight. That's our responsibility. When all these levels fail, EPA. You never acted for what, 5 months after this memo, Ms. Hedman?
That's incorrect. In fact, the following day, I offered lead experts to the mayor.
What they did.
And within 3 weeks, we had concluded an agreement with MDEQ to order Flint to issue corrosion control.
And what did they do?
They issued an order.
Did they do it?
They did eventually.
Eventually, when?
They issued an order on August 17th directing the city of Flint to implement corrosion control.
And the time
on
is ticking and
September
nothing's
3rd.
done, and you never went back on them. There was really no plan in place for more than 5 months.
That's not true.
It was ignored. It is the whole truth and nothing but the truth, I hate to tell you. And again, I think EPA also failed. So we had failure at multiple levels. Mr. Edwards, you've seen cases. You said this isn't uncommon of how they failed across the country. Is that not the case in Flint?
Well, I mean, there's a climate out there where lead and water problems are covered up, that people are cheating on the sampling, and that climate allowed Flint to occur. It allowed these unethical civil servants at MDEQ to claim that there was no problem in the water whatsoever, even when they were breaking federal corrosion control law.
Thank you.
Thank the gentleman.